So they usually use these sanctuaries to hide themselves, and so saying, you ask yourself, so many people have just interacted, and you find they ask, what am I going through? They say the things that I'm going through, and I do not understand why they are happening to me, because in the previous video I spoke about action and reaction. So in order for you to have some reactions that you are facing, there has to be possibility of an action. Also it's also ancestral debt that people pay, but anyway, but yeah, you have to include that in it. But, if you look at all these things that people go through, they try to ground themselves in their own righteous perspectives, which is validated by their own actions. Because if you say you are a righteous being, and you have certain principles, and you are willing to uphold those principles, regardless of the circumstance, then you already have a foundation. That's a foundation. But if those circumstances, those principles shift due to circumstances, then you have shifted your foundation in a way. Doesn't mean it can be bad. It can be that you are trying to reinforce your foundation, so you try to improve certain principles, because the judgment of a foundation can only come from you. It can never come outside you. If you feel someone is telling you, your foundations are doing this and this and this, or it's making you unpopular, so long as you are popular within yourself, if there's a consensus within you that the foundations that you are putting are for the good of you and also for the good of your soul, because all these foundations are there to protect your soul. Like I said, the innocence is never stolen. If someone does you some wrong, then you have agreed that they are using their light to do wrong, and that light is getting dimmer and dimmer. So you don't have to apply your own light on the same situation, because like I said, you have your own shadow that can protect you from these kinds of beings. And if they realize you are this strong, they try to take the people around you out. And the only way you can be able to give the people around you salvation is by the example of how you are standing in your foundations. Because if a building is standing in its own foundation and other buildings around it are collapsing, then the other architects may decide maybe to get an idea or two from the architect who built that particular installation, see how they came up with the foundation and everything all the way to the top. See, and when you are tested by many, then the many are weak. It is as it is. Let's just put it as it is. Like I usually use the example of a zombie situation. If you are tested by many, it doesn't mean your standing is weak or your standing is wrong. Okay, say the answer is always within you. If you seek it outside yourself, it will always be a wrong answer. If you want people to give you an opinion about yourself, then they are going to give you an opinion that is contrary to yourself. They're going to give you the opinion that they see from their own perspective, and their own perspective is their own self. Now you have taken yourself and given out your free will. Your free will is an aspect of your foundation. As you stand in that foundation, you grow in it, the same way that each and every tree has its own roots. You never find two trees sharing a root. Even if their branches or their stem are splitting from the ground, those are still branches, there's a stem in it. See, you may say, what about the mangrove? So each and everything has a stem. Everything in life has a stem. That's why we call it system. Sys and then stem. See, there has to be a foundation in order for something to be built. A reality cannot be built without a stem. Usually, if you go to this certain social media like TikTok, there's a slot for STEM. People are doing a lot of advanced science there. It should be in the simplest way possible. But anyway, people like to make things complex so that they look bright. But it's not really complex. Like I said, if you take one small triangle and you take its corners and you draw the lines as they pass, because the triangle has 3 lines. So if you draw those lines infinitely, they cross each other. You are going to make infinite triangles. See? Well, you have to prove the thesis and all those theories. Theories are good because it's a thought which has already been put in a state of flowing. Then that flowing now is now applied as a reality. Thought is like the theory is just like a plan. So if someone tells you something is a theory, don't just think it's a lie. It's already existing somewhere. It's just that it has not yet been brought to this reality. Same way, conspiracy theory is still a fact that someone is still yet not to believe in, because people decide to close their mind up to certain limits. And if you close your mind up to a certain limit, you are accepting that's a limitation. And once you accept that to be a limitation, someone else will dominate you, because you have reduced yourself to an animal. You have limited your will, and if will is limited, then will also disappear. See, I speak a lot about free will because that's the difference between the humans, the gods, the angels versus the animals. The animals represent the shadow side of everything. They represent the truth in its total sense. See, a lion sees a gazelle, they are going to chew that gazelle if they are hungry. There are circumstances where they play around, because you can also alter the DNAs of these animals so that it looks like it's rare. You just alter the DNA at the edge such that the lion now becomes repellent towards the gazelle, so it no longer has the desire to feed on the gazelle. So if you ground yourself in your truth, the same way nature has grounded itself in its truth, because let's pick an assumption. If nature was to function in a state of pretense, there will be no human living by now. It's just a lion just turns into a man, walks to your place, pretends it's just a man, then while you sleep it just chews you properly. I like to blame the shape-shifting reptilians a lot, but let's also look at our state of pretense, because like I say, the energy of a greed or the reality is formed by the sum total of people and what they believe in. If you believe in something and you're willing to let it out, it will be that's what it will be. But if you hide it and you show your face in another form, then that energy changes to something else. See, it changes to what you pretend to be, because that's what you have shown people.